Hi friends, and welcome back and welcome to the first official summer video. I did already do like a prepping for summer slash just resetting video, but this is the first official summer video and we are kicking it off strong with some summer book recs along with my summer TBR. Another book that I need to shove down everyone's throat. Is that husband? If you want to cry this summer, if you want a sad girl summer, this one's for you. It has taken over every part of my life and I think we need to resurface it. So I have 3 massive book piles to talk to you guys about. I think I counted and there's like 30 plus. I'm not gonna go too in depth with all of them because we would be here for hours and I don't know if either of us wants that. Okay, so I sorted all of the books into 3 different categories. We have first up being romance, and then the next category is kind of like literary fiction slash some mystery slash just books that may have a blend of genres, and then third category is fantasy. So I think we're going to start off with romance because I feel like that is the most summery genre out there, because a lot of romances are specifically summer ones, or just like they go on like a trip during it or something like that to make it summer. The first one I have to talk about is Alex Approximately by Jen Bennett. Honestly, I think this is maybe my top favorite YA romance book I've read. It was just so summery and it felt very nostalgic. I feel like a trope I always do enjoy, but like I've seen so many times in like movies or whatever, is when the main character is messaging someone online and then they're like low-key in love with them, and then they meet this other guy in real life and turns out, hey, they're the same person, but they don't know that. I always eat that up for some reason. I think that's just such a fun YA trope and I really like this one. I read this like 3 summers ago at this point, so I don't remember it too much, but I specifically remember loving it and just the vibes, the setting being incredible for that summertime. I mean, just like the cover too is one of my favorites of all time. It's just beautiful. In this, they work at this like really fun, technically a museum, but it's like a fun museum, so that was always really fun to see too. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. And then this author also has another popular summer book, and I read that one but I didn't enjoy it as much as this one. This is one of those rarer romance books where they're already in a relationship and they're working to keep the relationship going or better it. So that is what happens in this one. And again, another little like micro trope I love to see is when there's like a time loop. So in this one, they are transported back to this, I think it's the year previous or maybe a couple years ago, the summer camp that they always go to. They are teleported back in time to that, and they obviously have to figure out like how to get out of this loop and what they can do to stop it. And I just love that in a book because I just think it adds so much to the story, and it definitely did in this one as well. These aren't characters I really think about frequently, but if you just are on the beach and you want a quick summery romance, this is definitely the one for you. Or if you're like going to some sort of camp vibe, definitely pick this up. It was literally so short. I think, yeah, it's like 290 pages, so just under 300 pages. My favorite of all time, probably adult summary book, is one I'm sure we've all seen before, but I just want to talk about it because this is just one of my favorite romances of all time too, and that's Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. If this cover doesn't scream you need to read this on a beach or lake, I don't know what cover does. Should I reread it? This is just the epitome of if he wanted to, he would, and Justin in this is just the ultimate book boyfriend. And Abby Jimenez is genuinely like my favorite romance author ever, so if you're looking for a new romance author to get into this summer, definitely pick out Abby. All of her books like slightly connect, but you don't have to read any before the others. I mean, I would recommend, but you don't have to. So yeah, if you do read this and like it, you can always read the other books in the series and follow along with some other characters and fall in love with them. Abby Jimenez's writing is just incredible. She does this amazing mix between comedic and also you're gonna cry because it's so gut-wrenching and like deep stuff is going on. I love these books. I love all of her couples so much. This book I feel like a lot of people were talking about when it first came out and it kind of just lost hype, and I think we need to resurface it because this book was incredible. I think I gave this close to a 5-star. This is one of those books that just makes you think about your life too, and just you walk away with something from this book. Like, yeah, you can read like a fun fluffy summer romance and like be happy after, but this like makes you think and evaluate your life and just compare and contrast and all of that, and I loved it so much. So this follows our main girl Delphi, and one day she dies in this super like stupid way. Like she chokes on a microwavable hamburger or something, and she basically gets plopped into this afterlife waiting room, and the person at the desk ends up giving her another chance at life if she can find someone to love, or like I think it's just kiss them, because there's also another guy in the waiting room, and she's like, Is that husband? So she goes back and has a couple weeks, I think, to try and find love. And during this time, just the journey of self-growth she goes on during that time was so beautiful to watch. And again, like I talked about, it just makes you think about your own life and just what you would do if you were in this situation and to, you know, live life to the fullest and all that. This one, I feel like you guys are gonna be like, no one else needs to be recommending that book. Like, it's all over, like, I've seen this recommendation. But let me cook. The Deal by Elle Kennedy. If you are trying to avoid all the hype, like if you're like, this is stupid, like I don't want to, you know, like follow the popular route. No, you need to. You need to. I was the same way. I hadn't read these books until the show came out. And then once the show came out, I became utterly obsessed. And then I started reading the books. And I think you should too. The show is just incredible. I will say I like the show better than the books, but I'm also in love with the books because of the show and like because I want to know what happens now. So the hype is real. I don't want to talk about this much more because I feel like everyone and their mother's dog knows about it, but you really should read it. It is really worth the hype, like I promise. It has taken over every part of my life. If you want to cry this summer, if you want a sad girl summer, this one's for you. This, oh my god. Rebecca Yarros has so much hype around her, specifically for the Fourth Wing series, but her romance books are honestly just as good. They are on that top level too of the romance genre. I don't know what she puts in them, but they are all so good. I think I've read 2 or 3. They've all been so close to 5 stars. She just is an amazing author and she just deserves more hype around her romance books. So this is kind of a military romance, but not really. He comes home. Our main girl, she has a brother in the military and he has a best friend in the military, and her brother passes away and he basically tasks his best friend to look out for her because she does have children. She lives on her own with them and she's kind of struggling a little bit. So yeah, you're following him. He's just very like protective, acts of service if he wanted to, like she doesn't even have to ask and he's already done it vibe, and I love that. That is my favorite type of main character to read about. Like Rebecca Yarros fashion, it is also devastating. You just feel all the emotion throughout this, and she manages to break your heart, put it back together, break your heart again, put it back together. What I love about her books too is they're not like just a romance book. Like yeah, he like gets tasked to watch over her and all that, but it is so much more than that. And I really liked seeing also her kids in this book. I thought they added so much, and that's coming from someone who has been very iffy about kids in books. So these two are by, again, a super popular author, and I think her show for Every Summer After is actually coming out like sometime in June, I think. But these are my 2 favorite Carly Fortune books. I've read all of her books now except the second one, the pink one, and these 2 are my favorites. These 2 are the ones I would for sure recommend. This one put me in the summer spirit like nothing else this year. I read this, I want to say like right when it came out maybe, and it put me right into the summer spirit. I read a lot of this outside too, and it was just such a vibe. They go on this vacation together and it was just so tropical. All of Carly Fortune's books are set in these beautiful places in Canada, and it just makes me want to go so bad. She has such atmospheric reads, especially for this time. This one is childhood friends to lovers. It starts off, our main girl Frankie is engaged to someone else, and literally at her bridal party or rehearsal dinner, I mean, then the next morning on the day of the wedding, the fiance calls it off. And so her best friend George is there to help kind of save the day with that, and the romance is between them. Super fun time. I really like this one. This one, again, I thought this was the perfect summer book, especially if you live by a lake or are going to a lake, because they are staying at this house on the summer. And our main girl in this, I think she paints or does photography. I can't remember, but I really liked reading about that too. I thought that was super fun. I just love reading about writers, artists, all of that, musicians. I don't remember like what the trope of this was, but I think they were neighbors and they kind of strike up a friendship over the summer, and it unfurls into more. Another YA summer romance I thought was really fun was Float. This was a Wattpad story, and I just love to support that because I grew up on Wattpad. So our main girl, Waverly, she's kind of in the middle of her parents' divorce, and she is from Alaska, but she goes to Florida to stay with her aunt for the summer, and she meets this guy there. I kind of think they're neighbors, but I don't remember for sure. And he basically invites her into their friend group and helps her have such a fun summer, and this was really fun. It was really sweet. This was a YA book that didn't feel like too YA or cringy. If you are going to a summer if you're going to a summer wedding, I would highly recommend this one because I just love a wedding in a book, and just in general, but something about a wedding is just so summery and so fun to read about, and just such a beautiful thing to celebrate love like that. So this is about Georgia and Eli. They used to be together, but they aren't anymore, and they have to see each other again at a mutual friend's wedding. And I really like this. The setting is beautiful. It's on this like beautiful vineyard. Not like a total favorite romance of mine, but definitely a really good second chance one. I literally was thinking about this book today. I think about this book very frequently. I loved this book. I have loved all of Katelyn Center's books that I read, so honestly I just recommend them all. So this book follows our main girl and she's a firefighter. I absolutely loved reading about that because I loved seeing her relationship with the other people on the crew and whatever. Obviously there was a little bit of like animosity, I think that's the word, between some of them, but I really liked how it ended up wrapping up, and I thought this was such a fun book. I loved it. In most of her older books specifically, there's always a ton of character development that happens in her books and just always something going on under the surface that the characters have to work through, and this is seriously one of my favorite romance books of all time. I just found this physical copy at a garage sale and I was so happy to find it because I didn't have it before, and this is one of my favorite books, and now I can like reread it whenever I want. Yeah, basically she travels from her, I don't remember where exactly, but she travels to be closer with family so she can take care of them, and she basically just has to get through this new fire station, and there is some romance in this, but I would say there's a good mix between romance and fiction. Like I think this is almost maybe like lit fic. Another one by Katelyn Center I loved. Again, like these two books are seriously some of my favorite romances of all time. Her older books are unreal, you guys. I highly recommend. So this one is about her main girl, and she is, I want to say fiance, but they are on a plane together because he's a pilot, and then the plane crashes and she is severely injured, like in the hospital. I don't think she can walk, and she just has so much going on because she has obviously dealing with those severe injuries. The whole time while she's at the hospital, she's also going through so much with her family, with her friends, with her fiance, and she just has to make so many big life decisions. And there is romance in this too, but like I talked about with the other book, it's not like the forefront of the story. I would highly recommend. I have loved all of her books. Okay, next stack, fiction slash mystery slash thriller. There's some YA in here too, but only a couple. Wild Dark Shore, I think this is really a good book to read any time of the year because they're on an island, but it's colder there. So like the island vibe, summer, but the temperature, fall, winter. But I still think this is a great story to read any time of the year because it is just so fast paced once you get into it. It did take a little bit to get into just because the way it's told is kind of different. I don't remember exactly, but you're told some things, but then it's not explained until later in the books. You kind of have to make assumptions at first and then just figure it out as you go. This is a really interesting story because it's following this family and they're on this island. It's really secluded, and they were basically there with a bunch of other scientists trying to figure out something. Like there's this big seed farm that they're taking care of, but they are the only ones left. The crew is gone, and it starts off, you're told that they only have a couple weeks, I think it is, before they have to leave the island. And then while they're dealing with all of that, someone washes up on the shore and they're like, who are you? How did you get here? Just what the heck? So you're trying to figure out like what's everyone's backstory basically. It was such an interesting time, and I was caught off guard with so much in this book. It was actually crazy, and I would highly recommend. This is a book that I think anyone would like. This was one of my 5-star reads of the year. I cannot recommend this book enough. Again, it's like kind of literary fiction with a subplot of romance, and the romance in this was absolutely beautiful. I loved it. This is, again, like I talked about, one of the time loop like books. Okay, so our main girl Meg, she has this super incredible life in Hollywood, and she's this actress on this super popular television show, and she has money, all of that. One day though, she needs a break from everything, so she gets on a plane and goes to Ireland. She goes to the town where the school is that she would have went to if she would have chosen to go to it back then, okay? And she gets there and everyone knows her in this town. She goes to the bar, everyone knows her. Everyone's like just talking to her like an old friend. Her like phone switches back to a different one. I love stuff like this. That is my all-time favorite trope or whatever, just like time loops, stuff like this where they're in another dimension basically. I cannot express to you guys how impactful this book was on my life. It just makes you think so much about what your priorities are, and if you were put into this, like if you left your dream life and were put into another life, what you would actually want. It was just crazy to me, and it made me think so much, and this book made me absolutely sob. I have a reading vlog in it, you'll see the card, but go watch that after this one. This book had so many amazing themes in it, and I just loved how it wrapped up because it was so beautiful. It wasn't necessarily how I thought it should wrap up, but it was still the perfect ending, if that makes sense. And then this book, so this author actually has another book, Into the Dark, and that was actually the first ever ARC I ever received, and so it will always have a special place in my heart. But I really enjoyed that book, but I feel like it might be a little more folly. So we're gonna talk about this one, also by this author. This book was so good, like seriously one of my favorite like YA mysteries. This is set on a cruise ship and it's a murder mystery. It's like a YA semester at sea type vibe. Like I think they're in high school or maybe they're in like their first year of college or something, and there's murders on the ship, and there's also just teenage friend drama. Boyfriend and ex-best friend are also on this boat, so she's like, get me away from them, as she should be. I'm not gonna say much more because I want you guys to go in blind. And this was cool because they're obviously on the ship like studying, so you get to see like the stops they get off on and just everything mysterious going on this ship, and I thought this was so fun. Her writing was really fast-paced and easy to read. Another thriller I really liked. Honestly, thrillers are hard for me to recommend because there's only been like a couple that I actually really liked and that have stuck with me, and this one did because it's a little bit more mystery whodunit vibes, but I thought this was super fun. I'd recommend the audiobook too because it is told some chapters in like interview style, like you're actually listening to a podcast, because the main thing of this is a murder podcast. Our main girl, she is kind of a suspect for the murder of what actually used to be her old best friend in high school, I think. So she actually has to go back to this town, and everyone in the town is like, she did it, you know? So she's trying to prove that she didn't do it, but also no one knows like who actually did it. So you're following along with our main girl and you don't know if she did it or not. I'm still shocked with what happened with this. I don't remember this being like specifically seasonal to any season, so I mean really anytime, but summer it will be fun too. Just any Frederick Bachman book, just read it anytime, please, I'm begging. This book was so beautiful. I absolutely love character-driven stories, and that is exactly what this was, a beautiful character-driven story with an unlikely friendship. That is another micro trope I love, unlikely friendships. I just eat it up so much, and you will see some more of these in this stack. So you're following Louisa, and she is, I don't want to say a troubled teen, but she's going through kind of a rough patch as a teenager, I'd say. I think she goes to this art gallery and she is trying to figure out the story behind this like famous painting with 3 people in it. So she strikes up a friendship with someone and he ends up telling her the story of the painting, and it's beautiful. Frederick Bachman's writing is just unlike anything I've ever read before. He can just put you in someone's head even if they're the minuscule character, and his writing is just insane. He will make you fall in love with all of the characters and feel so attached to them even if you just see them for like one chapter. I'd highly recommend it. I don't want to say too much more because like I said, it's a very character driven story, so I can't really say much. You will feel all the emotions through this. Another book that I need to shove down everyone's throat, Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I feel like this is so widely talked about, but if you haven't read it by now, you have to read it right now. After this video, go pick it up along with the other 30 of these. One of my favorite books of the year so far, maybe top 3, I don't even know. This book just had, again, so many amazing themes of it. Friendship, love, just finding yourself, family, just being a woman in this time period and just trying to figure out what you want in life, career-wise, whatever. This was such a beautiful story and I cannot convince everyone to read this enough. You're following Joan and she is in the program of NASA and she is one of the first female astronauts ever. I think it's set in the 80s, yeah, so it's just a really interesting time period to read about being a woman in this field. This book is kind of told in past and present, but mostly the past. Technically, you're getting snippets, a couple chapters here and there about the present on this like mission that they're on, and then you're seeing the past leading up to that mission. Again, I feel like these are such popular recommendations, but I feel like they're also starting to lose a little bit of hype. I want to resurface them because they deserve it. The Correspondent, if you love like a character-driven, hard-hitting story, I would definitely pick this one up. It does take a little bit to get used to because it is told exclusively through emails and letters, but by the end of this, oh my lord, you are attached to the characters. So yeah, you're basically following Sybil, and her entire life is communicating through letters, emails, everything. Like if she reads a book from an author, she's writing that author a letter saying she loves the book. And I really like this book because there are so many just cute moments and cute side characters that I loved so much, and just watching Sybil's life unfold throughout the letters was beautiful. And she is elderly in this. I want to say she's like 80 something, so she is kind of declining a little bit. Her eyesight specifically is on the decline, so you're following her as she lives out her amazing, beautiful, quiet life. And I love this because you see so much much character growth in her. Even though she is 80 something years old, she is still changing and adapting as a person, becoming an even more beautiful person. I don't think necessarily this will be for everyone because it is very character driven, and like I talked about, told through letters and whatnot. Like, that's literally just some of the pages. I love reading about elderly people and unlikely friendships. It's just always gonna hit for me, so I would highly recommend this one. So I bought this book last year when it came out, and I think I was slumping a little bit at the end of last summer, and I wanted to pick this up because it sounded so good to me. So I think I read this in September, but I would definitely say summer read. This follows character Haven, and she is a nautical archaeologist, it says. So she basically dives for buried treasure. So fun! And so she goes, I don't remember where exactly. Oh, that would be where she goes. The Amalfi Coast. She goes there because her father also was in the same field as her, and he thought he found something big. So she goes to try and discover it. And then also in this book, you are also getting a past timeline. I'm gonna actually find what year it is because yeah, you're getting a couple other timelines, one from 1820, because there is some legends around the Amalfi Coast, just like witchy stuff like that. And this was so fun to read about because you're like, how the heck are these timelines gonna connect like the 1800s to 2000 and whatever? But they do, and this was so fun to read about. Like I talked about, I read this kind of more in the fall time, so I think if I would have read this in the summer, it would have been so good because they talk about, like, you know, how hot it is being literally on the water in the summer, and this book was so interesting to read about. I've always been interested in that type of stuff, so this was so fun to read about. If you like Outer Banks and like that whole kind of vibe, I would definitely pick this up because it is kind of similar to that. There is also a little romance in this. Oh my goodness, guys, I read this book this year actually, and I would say, yeah, spring, summer, perfect time to read it. Maybe more so summer, but it's not like overly summery. This book was like 5 stars. Some of the quotes in this, I was like, thank you for putting it into words how that feels. This follows our main girl Phoebe. Oh, my bookmark's still in here. I misbookmarked. This follows our main girl Phoebe, and she goes to this super extravagant hotel and she gets a room there. And everyone except her is there for this huge extravagant wedding that is happening at this hotel this week. She meets the bride, and the bride's like, who are you? You're not part of the wedding. Like, you can't be here because you're not part of the wedding. This is my wedding, whatever. And Phoebe shares with her the reason that she is at the hotel, and the bride's like, yeah, you can't do that. It's just not happening. So they end up striking this friendship, and just watching the character growth for either of them was so fun to read about. There's so many side characters in this because the wedding party is so huge, but throughout the entire book, I wasn't confused once about who was who. The author does such a good job distinguishing people and describing them and making you connect to them and know who they are, but it's not confusing at all. I love this book. I cannot recommend this enough. There is a little bit of romance in this, but it's more like a character exploration story, like kind of an unlikely friendship a little bit, or just like an unexpected friendship. An amazing book. It is worth all of the hype. I feel like this is just like won so many awards and on so many best of lists, and it deserves to be there. Definitely summery too. They go surfing, they go to the beach, they do like a drive. I also think this is the perfect time to read this book because the movie just came out, and the movie was so good, you guys. I mean, the book is so good too. If you like kind of the themes I've been talking about throughout this video, elderly character you're following, themes of friendship, love, family, just like uncovering a little mystery that's going on, connecting to storylines and an unlikely friendship, and you like animals, I would highly recommend this book. You're following Tova, and she is an elderly woman who works at this aquarium, and she is kind of friends with an octopus, which sounds like crazy, I know. Marcellus the octopus does have a perspective in this, but it's not like he's talking, it's just like you can hear his thoughts, and he is such a smart character, and I loved following all of the people in this book. I think this story was super well written. I feel like people have said that it's boring to them, but to me, as someone who loves this type of book, and if you do too, you won't find it boring at all. There's always something going on, and it's so beautiful. I love it. Can't recommend it enough. If you want like a short, kind of more emotional book, I kind of honestly think this might be in the winter. I really don't remember. I would recommend this one. Again, you're following an elderly old man, and he's just kind of living. He lives alone. He lives above a bookstore he owns, and it's just like, yeah. But one day, his rare collection of poems are stolen, and basically something just unexpected comes into his life, and he just kind of has to change his way of life, and that was so beautiful to see. And yeah, really short book, highly recommend. I still haven't finished this show, and I really need to because I really liked this book, and I've liked everything I've read by Ellen Hilderbrand because she always just mixes so many genres: romance, I almost said fantasy, not fantasy. Romance, mystery, fiction, all the things. It's all in this book. In this book, they're at this wedding on this beach and the maid of honor ends up missing. So you're following the book as it uncovers what is happening. I think it kind of goes person by person, like you're learning about one person and then the next chunk you're learning about another person. And I really liked how that was set up because one chunk I was like, oh yeah, he did it. And then the next I was like, oh yeah, she did it. I was like, oh yeah, no, he's innocent. You just kind of go back and forth on what to believe, and I thought that was really fun because it keeps me guessing. And now we are on to the last stack of Rex. Woo! Are you sick of me yet? This stack is fantasy. This is Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. Our main girl, Alosa, she basically allows herself to get kidnapped on this enemy ship because she's on the mission to retrieve an ancient hidden map, a key to a legendary treasure trove. Yeah, so this was really fun because I think there is a little romance to it. I think it is enemies to lovers, but this was fun because again, you're on a pirate ship. It was so fun, and I love reading about just like badass female main characters because she was so fun to read about. She's so smart. It's like, yeah, she's captured, but she's so smart. She has this all planned out, and that is my favorite type of main character to read about in a fantasy world. You guys, this is also the perfect time to pick this up because the second one is coming out and I'm so excited. I've been waiting for so long. I read this book when it first came out. I want to say I read it on Kindle. I gave it 5 stars. Seriously, one of my favorite fantasies of all time. I was on my toes this entire book. Should I reread this? I might reread this. Our main girl, Bryn, she kind of lives on this like boat town, I want to say, and she goes to this town with her people. When they're there, this guy, like, I don't remember if he attacks her technically or just like pushes her or something like that. I don't want to say much more because this is one of those books that's like you don't know like what's going on or who's true or who to believe, whatever. The perfect time for the second one to come out. I genuinely might reread this. This series is one I would recommend maybe more for the end of summer because it is technically a magical school setting. So this is the Madoran Chronicles by Lynette Nani. She's also the author of the Prison Healer series, and I loved both of them so much. Her writing is just incredible. She can build such an incredible world and such incredible characters. This follows our main girl, Alex, and she's just at her normal school one day and she goes to like the principal's office or something and she gets transported into this magical world and she's like, y'all, is this a prank? Like, this ain't my world, like, get me home. No, so she just makes these beautiful friends and she is kind of forced into this magical world where there is a lot going on under the surface that's like not good. And I really like this series because every book in it, you kind of unlock a new part of this world. Like, there is dragons in it. Every book has like a new setting you unlock. You're just put deeper into the world then, and the mysteries that are going on and everything. It is technically YA, but I feel like YA fantasy, it's kind of different from other YA because it's not super cheesy, and honestly sometimes preferred for myself anyway. Oh my god, I love this book. I read this book again this year, which this year has just been a great reading year, honestly. Again, with this one, like, it's not technically a season. I think they do talk about how hot it is outside a couple of times, but I don't know. So in this, you're following our main guy, Vis, and he was orphaned after a tragic accident, and he's just trying to survive in a little bit of a devious way. Like, he's a street fighter basically, and you just know he has so many secrets he's hiding. You're just trying to figure out what's going on. And then one day this guy comes, he basically takes Vis to this academy and is sent him on a mission to figure out answers about something that happened. And this academy is super competitive, and I really liked it because you meet so many good characters at this school that I loved so much. And again, you're kind of like, who do you trust, who not do you trust? This entire book, this book just has such high stakes throughout, and when you get to the end of it, so much happens. It was one of those books where I wasn't planning on finishing the series right away, but once I finished the book, I immediately went out and bought the second one because I had to know. I'm like 20 pages into it. I haven't gotten too far into it yet, but I am so excited for it because the way this ended was crazy. I did have to watch some TikTok recaps, but that was just because it was so crazy. I had to make sure I got everything. Highly recommend it. It is chunky, but it's worth it. And like I said, it's high stakes throughout. There's always something happening, and this book just actually so much happens in this. Looking back on it, I'm like, that feels like 3 books, but like in a good way, you know? Another series that you should totally read this summer is the Ember and the Ashes series. I read this probably like 4 or 3 years ago at this point, and I still think about this frequently. This has just such amazing characters in it, and some of my favorite things in a fantasy. Our main girl, she again has to go undercover and try and figure out secrets of what's going on, and that again is just one of my favorite tropes in fantasy. Honestly, like, these are kind of similar, so if you like one, I'd say read the other and vice versa, but they're still obviously very different because this one is technically YA too. As the series goes on, you just get more and more attached to other characters, and there is like a little romance in this. So the guy on this, his name is Elias, and he is, I think, the son of some high up military person or whatever, and they meet, and obviously she's there for like devious reasons. Their paths kind of cross and their stories kind of intertwine, and that was so beautiful to see, and I love them both so much. You guys, I read this, was it this year? It might have been this year or the end of last year. I fell in love with this series. Like, I miss these characters so much. This is Assistant to the Villain. This is just the epitome of like a fun romance fantasy book. I say romance lightly though because it's definitely tension filled, but the romance isn't progressing yet, and I'm on book 3 or 4. I feel like this is the rom-com of the fantasy genre. Like, it is hilarious, absolutely hilarious. And same with this series. As it goes on, you just meet so many amazing side characters that you fall in love with, and although like I love Evie and the villain, the two main characters, the side characters really make the story sometimes. Basically, Evie is looking for a job, and she is literally walking through the woods one day, and I think, I don't know, something happens in the woods and she meets the villain and he offers her a job. And she's like, you're kind of like the villain, but yes, I need a job. So she starts working for him, and she's just so like sweet and innocent and funny. Like, he wears poofy dresses and all that. And the villain just has like severed heads everywhere. And she's like, the pay is good, you know? I love these characters so much. Like, seriously, this is one of my favorite series ever. It is so fun. It is a little bit annoying how slow burn it is, but I think in the last book of the series, it's gonna make up for it. And just some of the tension, I'm just like gnawing at the pages, like wanting more, but also like it makes it so worth it when something does happen and you can just analyze every little like glance and whatever. Highly recommend this series. It's so fast paced, decently short and easy to read, and a fun audiobook. Oh my gosh, 2 more thankfully. Another fun fantasy book is The Rose Bargain. This one I think was maybe very summery. This is like a good summer fantasy. I don't think it was like in the winter time. I don't really know though. This is kind of like, I'd say, this Selection, The Hunger Games, all those type of vibes into one, but also fae. So the girls in this, they have to make a bargain with the queen, I think it was, or someone high up. It's like perfect teeth for one of your fingers chopped off. Like stupid things like that like don't matter. They have to do that, and then they're kind of like in The Bachelor. Like, they're fighting for this king's hand basically. Although that's going on, that's like silly and whatever, there is more going on under the surface. Some fae mysteries at what's going on. The second one actually just came out, and I am waiting to read that because I kind of think it left off on a little bit of a cliffhanger, and I would highly recommend. It is YA, so it's super fast paced. I thought this was really kind of unique from other YA fantasy books. Like, it has similar themes and aspects, but it was done really well and really differently. Another one, again, the second one just came out. This is the perfect time to read it. This is When the Moon Hatched. This is honestly kind of reminds me of Throne of Glass because the main girl is an assassin. So she's an assassin for a rebel group. Rave's job is to complete orders and never get caught. And a rival bounty hunter turns her world upside down and she is imprisoned. Like I said, there's just so much more going on under the surface. Kind of like every fantasy book. Like, I love that when you think one thing and other things get revealed and you're just like shook. It did take me a while to get into, but once I was into it, I loved it. This was actually my book club's first book club book, and that was really fun also being able to talk to them about it. Whenever I read fantasy, I feel like I sometimes skip over some stuff and they'd say something, I'll be like, what are you talking about? That's not this book. And they were like, yeah babe, it is. I think there's a little romance in this. Again, I just love reading about like female assassin characters or like just strong females in fantasy. Love it. Okay, and now it is time for my summer TBR. Take all of these with a grain of salt. It's gonna be a wild summer, and I'm just such a mood reader that I could read none of these or I could read all of them. Okay, so a couple of these I'm like lightly in the middle of right now. The first being The Mistake. This is the second in the off-campus series. I'm like 10 pages into this maybe, but this is definitely one I will be reading this summer because I'm so obsessed with these characters. I cannot escape the edits. Every social media platform I open, it's all edits of them, and I'm not complaining, obviously. I just can't wait to see what happens with the other characters in this universe. I've been reading this book for like a month, but I'm really excited about it, and I'm finally at the point where I want to keep reading it. I did put it down for a while, but I think I'm finally back. It's like a second chance romance. Genuinely one of the most beautiful covers ever. I don't know the trope about this one. I love going into books blind, but I do know that our main girl is really grieving in this book and going through a lot, so I'm assuming the main guy just helps her. I don't know, but I'm really excited. I've heard amazing things about this author specifically, specifically this book. I've wanted to read this book for so long and I just keep forgetting about it or something, but I feel like this gives the same energy as Catherine Center's old books, so I really have wanted to pick this up. Evie Hudson should be grieving her dead husband, but since the car crash that claimed his life and landed her in the hospital, she can't remember him at all. The only person who can help her piece her past together is her high school best friend Drew Kennedy. Sounds right up my alley. Why haven't I read this? This book was actually sent to me and I'm so excited about it. It is, again, a wedding setting. It says 1 wedding, 3 love stories, and a little bit of chaos. That sounds great. I always love romance books where you're following more than one romance. I just think it's super fun and a nice touch. You guys, I started this book. I read the first chapter like literally 5 different times when I was in my slump and I just could not lock into the story, but I want to start this book so bad. I've just seen so many amazing things about this series and I want to be in the know about it. Another wedding book. I told you guys I love reading about weddings in the summer and I did buy this one to do that. I think the wedding is in Paris. So it says she flies to the destination wedding in Paris for the wedding of her former sister-in-law only to butt heads with the deliciously gruff best man. These two I picked up at garage sales. I don't remember for how much, but it was like cheap. This book I've debated buying for since it came out and I found it at a garage sale for like less than $5. I was like, of course. I really enjoyed Love Light Farms, but I tried to read the second one and I didn't love it, so really interested to give BK Borson another chance, but I know this was like super loved when it came out. This one I got for $1 and I wanted to read one of her books for so long and I was not aware that this is hockey. Like, this does not scream hockey romance to me. It screams small town. Maybe it's both though. Obviously, since off campus I've been obsessed with hockey romances, so of course for $1 I'm gonna buy this. Carter Beckett is NHL's best player both on and off the ice. So yeah, that sounds great. These two again I also started reading and soft DNF'd basically because I just was in my slump bad. King of Ashes. I just think this sounds so interesting. I think it's like a mob thriller. It sounds so fun. It started off really interestingly and I was confused, but I think I just need to give it another chance and then I will like it because I've just heard amazing things. And then lastly we have The Strength of Few. I cannot wait to get to this. Again, I've just been in slump recovery, so I haven't got here yet, but I'm so excited to start this. Okay guys, that is all of the books that I recommend and or want to read this summer. If you have read or want to read any of these, let me know, and let me know what is on your summer TBR and also your top summer book recs because I would love to read them. I will see you guys next time. Love ya. Peace.